Good afternoon. A fund to save jobs has been launched to try and save livelihoods during the COVID-19 pandemic. The Sukuma Fund was formed in March this year to distribute 1 billion rand donated by the Rupert family and their company Remgrow. Now, 4 South Africans have agreed to serve on an advisory panel of experts to help guide the future development of the fund, which provides crisis assistance to small businesses affected by the economic impact of the coronavirus. Let's get more on this from Francious Baird. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News. Talk to us a little bit more about the Sukuma Fund and what kind of businesses have been able to access funds and in what categories.
Thank you very much. The Sukuma Fund is quite a novel approach to rescuing small businesses. It's really a rescue, revival and recovery mission for small business during the coronavirus pandemic. And a unique feature of this fund is that a portion of the fund, on the principle of paying forward, will be recovered eventually and will then serve as a permanent fund for crisis relief in a small business environment. Of course, the fund was overwhelmed initially within the first couple of days due to the massive impact of the pandemic on small businesses and has been working through these applications, but have also taken the view that it needed some people outside of Sukuma Fund to take a longer term view and help think through what should happen next and what should happen eventually. And this is why the advisory panel, comprising Archbishop Makgoba, Dr. Tabi Leoka, Dr. Tammy Mazwai, and Mr. Kas Kuvadia, will play a very important role in helping Sukuma plan for the future and also adjust its programs as it moves along.
When you talk about this demand, can you give us a sense of numbers of the companies who applied, and also what kind of categories perhaps are you seeing in terms of those applications?
Initially, there were 10,000 applications straight away and a further 30,000 after the cutoff date for receiving applications. So it's really been a huge avalanche of applications to the Sukuma Fund for help. Of course, the industry, the small business industry with retail as well as manufacturing and services, that's really the bulk of small businesses, and it reflects in the applications. Many of the personal services in the category of the small funds where they get a survival grant of 25,000 rand are struggling to make ends meet, and this has been a lifeline to them. Business Partners is handling all of the applications at no cost, so they're not charging a fee for doing so, and they're working through and making sure that they contact everyone who has applied already and whose particulars have been listed on their site already. And then as they progress, Business Partners will be reaching out for the Sukuma Fund to organize business. And that's why Mr. Kuvadia is so important as the Chief Executive of Business Unity South Africa, to see if we can get more people into the pipeline, because the fund has already paid out nearly 60% of its funds, but more funds remain, and they've had donors coming forward with contributions as well. So hopefully this will, in the short term, provide relief, as it has done already, to a large number of small businesses, but it will also provide relief in future.
All right. So is there criteria? I know you've spoken about small business and also retail. Is there criteria for the kind of companies that can apply for this assistance?
Sukuma stands for certain principles, which means that it doesn't really have criteria for the kind of company. What they look at is that they provide non-repayable survival grants for formal sole proprietors. In other words, people who do business but they're not a company or a trust or a CC. And then they provide soft loans to registered small businesses, which means no interest payments or capital repayments for the first 12 months, and then they'll look at it later. And those soft loans are really aimed at businesses with people whose employment they're trying to protect. So the survival grants are also provided to as part of the soft loan. So it's a grant plus a soft loan for small businesses, and then the sole operators is the survival grant.
Right. Francious Baird, thanks so much for your time speaking to us about the Sukuma Fund there.